first day of practice, everything you expected?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the excitement was there. I think at some point, this is my 8th year of being a head coach, and it goes back to the same thing. There's a bunch of anxiety for a lot of people on day one. It just seems to happen. Even as much as we get to meet and practice during the summer and go over install, just the first day you're out there with your helmet on, it's happening in real time. So I thought, we had some guys that couldn't finish practice today, so toughness is going to be a major factor. I got to go back and watch the tape and see why that happened. Obviously, it's super hot out here, but we got to get a lot tougher from this point on before our first game. And so all those issues will be addressed. So there was some good mixed in there today. I mean, I think that we had some guys that performed well and came out here and looked like pros, were in shape. But overall, I thought we had too many people that were gasping for wind at the end of practice.
With increased time, the OTAs in the summer, how much further are you along on the first day? I mean, did you even do installs, or have those been done?
Yeah, we do installs, but we're light years ahead of where we were in the past. And, I still stay true to my roots on some of the air raid stuff, on being able to do day 1, day 2, day 3, and then come back and repeat day 1, and then be able to add more. Now, we've done that over the course of summer through walkthroughs. And so our kids, know it like the back of our hand. So today we were a little bit more installed than what we typically would have been a couple years ago.
Eric, you mentioned how the guys were. How was the first official day for you?
Yeah, I think good. I think, now I was telling my wife the other day, has been here, 8 or 9 months, and I'm the same way. I'm so anxious to finally see these guys play against somebody else. With that being said, like there's a process to that, and we need these 25 practices to get ready to be prepared for and figure out, there's some people that are set on the depth chart already, but we got some battles going on right now, and to be able to really plug the right guys and let some of these competitions take, full effect through the first 2 scrimmages is something that we'll do. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm anxious to see them play somebody else. I gotta, stay true to my processes as well.
You did some kicking today. The
The
first few were a little rough.
That was not by design. I was a punter in high school, but our jugs machine, we just got a really nice new jugs machine as you would have it. All the technology petered out on us there, and there's nobody there. The punters were on the other side, and so my hamstrings will be sore tomorrow.
Where are maybe some of the key position battles that you got your eye on? Where are you looking?
Yeah, I mean, I think linebacker and just the way that we roll those guys in there, I mean, we got to feel really good about 4 guys playing right now. And obviously, we got Weslowski that's played a ton of football. He knows this scheme, feel really confident in him. And then the guys by, Chisholm and Tate and Dallas and all those guys behind, we got to figure out kind of who our top 4 that are going to play for us there. Corner, I think is still a battle, being able to figure out who our corners are. And then for us, we feel good about 7, 8 offensive linemen right now. And we need to have continuity. So after scrimmage 1, hopefully we have the O-line set in stone so they can get some continuity. But I think those are kind of the main areas right now.
There's only one roster change that I saw position. Carl Vion Young, who's really an explosive young kid, out to defensive end where he can edge rush a little?
Yeah, I thought he was somebody that could, be a little bit better for us to use that skill set if he got a little closer to the line of scrimmage. And so saw that a little bit, when he was blitzing as a linebacker. And so I think, as a young kid, it'll take some of the thinking out of the game and allow him to just read and react and play fast because he is super explosive.
Eric Hawkins is a headliner, but you have a lot of running backs, a lot of different skills. You have experience with Iowa Days. You talk about that group.
Yeah, and that's another one just to see how kind of that depth chart sorts itself out. And I think Io's got to stay healthy. He knows that. He's somebody that's, been banged up the last couple of years. I think when you look at a young guy in KD that's shown some explosion and he's matured a lot during this time. Trey Page is super fast. He has the speed to take it the distance. William Mason is a bigger, stronger kid, 225 pounds. So they all have a little bit of a different skill set. And so, I think that we'll use the majority of them, kind of in different situations.
When you look at your positions being set, when you look at quarterback, but how important is fall camp for the backup quarterback in terms of depth chart?
I mean, I think that's something that's, probably understated here. And obviously, I think what Oklahoma State went through last year and all, you get excited about a kid that starts off good in series 2 or 3, he's out for the rest of the year, and it's like, holy crap, what do we do now? And so Coach Brophy does a phenomenal job with that. So I think, Grant is a seasoned veteran. He's played football. He's been around it. He's installed. Super smart, continues to get better. And then Brody's a guy, I think that's right on his tail right now. I mean, a young guy that got all those reps in the spring. And so yeah, I mean, I think we'll give them a ton of reps in scrimmage, live situations to see who can kind of put it all together for us.
Drew obviously had a breakout year last year, but he's still a guy without a ton of in-game reps. Like, in what ways can he make improvements, or how have you even seen him improve this offseason?
Yeah, I think as his mind continues to slow down as he's out there, just because he processes information super fast, I think really building off leadership qualities, and you saw some of that today. I mean, super vocal in the huddle, super vocal when a receiver split wasn't where it's supposed to be, and so he's been able to take charge and almost be a coach out there, as opposed to a receivers coach screaming across the field that we're lined up wrong. Drew sees it like that, and he's able to go and address that for us, and so continues to grow in that. And then I think just adjusting to the speed of the game at the P4 level is something that's going to be super important, right? I mean, there's a reason this is a higher level of football, and the guys are bigger, faster, stronger. The windows are going to be tighter, and so he's got to continue to anticipate the way that he has in the past.
I was going to ask the Drew question the opposite way. Have you discovered in all your time with him that he's kind of an old soul? He seems that way.
Yeah, no, I think Drew, I see him just kind of as a goofy young kid still. And so it's so funny to see him kind of flip the switch on game day and turn into such a fierce competitor, because off the field, in the office, I mean, he's a guy that's fun-loving, jokes around. His voice still hasn't dropped yet, and somebody that has a quirky little voice, which, dealt with the same thing with Mahomes, always, people picking fun at him. And so he grew a mustache for camp. And so I told him it's not a great mustache when you guys see it, but he has a fun, kid side on the side.
Eric, how are you going to, with the defense? Obviously, a lot of your attention on the offense for reasons that we all understand. But how do you work with your defensive coaches to determine depth chart, all that sort of stuff as camp goes on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I give Coach Cassidy a lot of autonomy, and he's able to make a lot of decisions. And for it to work that way, we've got to meet a ton and be on the same page, right? So we'll designate time throughout camp where we'll sit down and we'll just go down the entire roster, and felt like that's a good way. And then at times I'll go into the D staff room and then just get a quick run around about where our kids are, what they're doing well, what we need improvement on. And then in team meeting segments, I know the defensive verbiage, and so I think it's good for me to get up there and to be addressed the defense, and them to know, hey, I know what I'm talking about.
In
And
the
so
receiver group, you have, we know about Ryan Young and Chris Barnes and Miles Coleman and those guys, but can you talk about some of the other guys that are going to have some depth?
Yeah, I mean, I think Justin Bowick's a guy that has a skill set to play this game for a long time. I mean, has the length and speed. I think he had our fastest timed 10-meter dash this summer at 6'5". So a guy that is looking at a 4'4", 4'3" guy at that size is a guy super excited about. Jabari Thornton has been a guy that's a young kid I think is continuing to improve. He's moved kind of from the 3s and 4s and getting some reps up with the 1s and 2s right now. And so Rodney Harris is a guy that's a big, strong kid, possession, played a ton of football, a ton of snaps. So I think those are the guys right now. And then, I tell you, the one guy that surprised me the most of our freshman class that came late is Standard, that came in from Arizona. And so 6'3" wide receiver. That wouldn't surprise me if he pushed himself into the rotation.
But what about Wyatt, Coach? Obviously, you had a great year last year with you in North Texas. Where can he grow and to be better as a receiver too?
Yeah, and I think obviously there's a part where these guys are still young. Wyatt is in his 3rd year of ever playing receiver. And I think the first test that I ever saw that was the spring game. Wyatt had a phenomenal spring last year. I mean, I don't think I saw him drop a ball the whole entire time, and then all of a sudden, spring game, he drops 3 practices, and he took it hard on himself, right? Like any great competitor would. And so I think just realizing like these moments are not going to be too big for him. Like he was made for this. What he's done in the past is good enough. He knows how to catch the ball. We've watched him do it, and so that's why too. For me, I'm excited to see these guys, in the moment, be able to make these plays and have fun and celebrate with their teammates.
Oates has been having to work out on his own during the summer. What was it like getting him back out here with the players, working out with the team?
Yeah, incredible. I think, he was somebody that I'd be sitting in my office and, he'd be outside running by himself and, he'd have to go lift somewhere else and not being able to do his workouts here. But, actually when we were able to get him back, phenomenal shape, strength was incredible. I mean, maybe the best shape that I've seen here. So a testament to him, being committed. That's hard to do when you're not out here with the team and you don't know what your future looks like. And so, first day back, having him break the guys down at the end, the whole team went crazy.
What did you have?
You had some guys, offensive linemen and defensive linemen, that were hurt in the spring that y'all have back now. Just what's it like having those guys? I know you talked about that in the spring, and then at Big 12 Media Days, a lot of your guys were talking about just how great it is to have those guys back too.
Yeah, Malik Charles is the one that stands out. Just a physical phenomenon. His numbers right now at 6'4", 300 plus pounds, and how fast he was running, the weights he was moving, what kind of shape he's in. We could do so many things with him. He's big enough to be a presence on the end and athletic enough to do that. And then, at times in certain packages, we can move him down and get him matched up on guards as a 3 technique. So I think the versatility, I didn't get to see him do anything because of the injury in the spring, but he was probably the most pleasant surprise. And he's a great kid. He's super thankful to be here. And then the other big one, I think, on the offensive side will be Lepo. Ashton Lepo's a guy that super athletic. We got to see a little bit more of his skill set. We just didn't let him do team. So I saw him in all Indy and what he was able to provide. You knew the skill set was there. He's a little out of shape today. He's one of the ones I was talking about earlier. His first time we got into some full pad. Some not full pads, some padded situation, a full practice. We got to get him in playing shape.
You mentioned kickers earlier. Is there a battle at that spot too?
No, I don't think so. I think Paz is a guy that's established himself right now as our number 1 punter, and then Sam is a guy that we feel really confident in and has been super accurate, and those guys' numbers throughout the spring. We chart so many of those things. It's easy to see, and then as spring goes on, we'll put them in some situations under pressure and make sure that they're good in those situations. But those two are definitely leaders in the clubhouse.
Go ahead.
You mentioned toughness at the start. How do you train toughness?
Going through hard things, I think, and really seeing how people respond to adverse situations. And so it's tough to do what we're doing right now with the heat, to come out here and to mentally and physically put it together during a training camp. Not like the olden days, like the two-a-days, right? But to be able to come out here and be focused in this heat and physically and mentally do it. And then, too, I think it's a little bit different now. There's a little bit of an NFL approach to it because these guys are rewarded financially in such a way when they go out there and perform, and so much is riding on it for them and their families. So I think I've seen, that be a good thing as far as these kids being able to push through because, there's something that they're going to be rewarded with on the back end.
I talked to your nutritionist. Snacks are, readily available out there. Pickles in cups to go get the dill pickles. And she even mentioned you're going to have a kind of a middle practice big break where they can consume some things and even get an extended rest.
Yeah, I think hydration in this heat is going to be key for us to be able to stay healthy, right? And health is the most important thing, and everybody wants to talk about, hydration and recovery and sleep and put them in the cold tubs and all the different things that we do to really regulate that. But these guys got to be committed to it, and so it's tough to do. We're going to come back and do the same thing tomorrow, and it's not unnormal for a guy to lose 8-9 pounds in body weight when they do. So they weigh in before practice, they weigh in after practice, and they weigh in at night before a team meeting. If they haven't got their weight back, they stay up here and they drink shakes with us. And so nutrition is a huge part to what we do.
You talked in the spring about how you have kind of modeled your practice after some stuff you've seen with NFL organizations. Does that carry over into this time of year?
Yeah, I think so. And I think just for the fact that we are further along, like we talked about earlier in our installs, is we're not trying to cram so much it doesn't seem like and trying to play catch up. Is that we've gone over these things, we understand it, we've been able to do walkthroughs. And so a bunch of stuff is technical now, and we got to do a great job of being teachers, coaches, right? And coming out here and teaching the techniques and the pad level and the effort and the body control and the angles and all the different things that consist within football. And so those are the things that we're kind of pouring into right now as everybody gets full speed and you can see those things come to life in real action.
Eric, 3 years you've been with Drew now. This will be the third season. That seems like we don't get a lot of that continuity with a lot of quarterbacks and their offensive chief. How important is that, and how valuable is that to a quarterback's progression to be with the same system, coach, all that for this long a time?
Yeah, I think it's huge, and this is the first time I've had a starting quarterback back-to-back years since Cam Ward, I guess, and hard for me to think, but I guess going from Incarnate Word to Washington State, he stayed with us and knew the scheme, same coaches, all those things, although there was new people around him, and so super excited. I mean, obviously Drew is so far advanced in this offense and understanding what I like as a play caller. I mean, he's anticipating things so much faster. And then too, it's been fun to see his creative side come out this summer. When we did some player run practices this summer, we allowed him to script the whole practice and put his spin on some stuff. And so then, receivers are sending back, a play of a design Drew had that scored a touchdown. Coach, we should probably put this in. And so yeah, I think there's still a fun aspect to it, and allowing his brain to continue to think, because he is so sharp. Is I think
One more down.